read the test profile.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce Sakil Maheshwari, a senior developer at Reliance. He is a full stack web developer and is working in the field of Java, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, JS, Blazor, and PostgreSQL. And very proud to say he is an alumnus of our college. He has his past experience in various companies like Freshworks, Zoho Corporation, Snapino Health, and the session is about Ruby on Rails with web application framework with microservices. The purpose of this. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. The purpose of this webinar is to incorporate industrial aspects into our academic syllabus. Now the session is in yours, sir. The take over the session. Thank you, sir. You
Yeah.
can start the session.
So shall I switch on the mic in which meeting, sir? Okay, sure. Okay. And present, I can do anyone also, right? Okay, sure. Okay, okay, sure. Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, I'm Atul here. Like I'm your seeing like I passed out in from R8 from 2015, and yeah, I'm going to take you on basics of what are microservices and how do you design or something related to designing also of microservices. Like I don't have any presentation at present, but I'll just give you an overview of what Ruby on Rails is. Like I wanted to first say about Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is a framework in which we can develop a web apps very easily and very robustly. Like you don't need any Tomcat server and stuff like that for uh, starting a Ruby on Rails server. It's a very like you have a Rails server, you have Ruby on Ruby, and it's very easy to do the setup for it. And even the coding part, it's like Ruby is supposed to be the user friendly programming language. Like it's like pure English. I will maybe show you example of how do you write a Ruby on Rails application. So the best example, the easiest example which I have with the auth service or auth. Mm, one moment. Yeah, like what I work on is currently it's a um, okay. I'll just give you an overview of what I'm working on. Like I'm working on a e-commerce based website in which like it's a kind of a Amazon services in which they have the shopping website. They have a returns website. They have a website in which they store the products of clients in their warehouses and then ship it and do all those stuff. So in that there is a service called auth service, which is used for authenticating a user. Okay, so if you see in this auth service, how we have built this, we'll have something called routes.rb. In routes.rb, we generally define the uh, paths or the endpoints which we want to authenticate. So if it is like OAuth token introspection, that will be like localhost colon 3000. Like Rails server starts on a 3000 port number, and it will be like localhost colon 3000 slash OAuth slash token introspections. So it is that easy to map a or create a URL or something, endpoint or something. So In Ruby on Rails, you will have model controller. So, what is a model? Model is a like where you are defining your database or schema or something from which you can fetch data.
Sir,
Controller is
please, your voice is
yeah.
not audible in the second window.
Um, One moment. If I turn it on, then it will be a echo, right? No. Hello.
Hello,
Am I
am I
audible?
audible?
Is it
Is it
echoing?
echoing?
Hello. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Now it's audible.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. Sure. So I'm just going through you how to build a Rails application or something. So in Rails application, you will have a model view controller as you have in a Java application or Tomcat server. Like you'll have models, you'll have view, and you have a controller. So our controller is a place where your route should map to. Like if it is a OAuth/token introspections, then there should be a controller which is like OAuth token introspection controller. So since it's a create call, it will go to the create method. It is that simple in Ruby on Rails. So from here we are like we are using a gem. Like you like in Java you have jar files. Likewise we have gem files in Ruby. Like these are open source. Like Ruby is completely open source. You'll have to get you will can get anything which is made by somebody. You can download from GitLab or GitHub and use it in yours. So Doorkeeper is a gem in which we are passing the params and it will return a token or something. So that token, um, yeah, we can directly render it like this. Whatever response has come, we can directly render it like this, and it will be coming as a or a result or something. So if you want to see the model or something, yeah, this is a model. Doorkeeper access token is a model which is inherited from a active like in Ruby on Rails. Your record which is coming from database is called an active record. So it is inheriting from active. Like there are many tutorials on Ruby on Rails application. It's like very simple to build a starting application using Ruby on Rails. So if you see we will be having classes for it like so access token will be a data structure which will have the database fields mapped to it. So using that data fields you can access the token or you can access where it can when it can expire or when the token can expire, when it is created, when it's updated. All those things will be in a data structure format inside this class. Okay. So this is a very basic or like I have created some Rails applications like when because I was in Java and when I transited to Ruby and Rails, so there was a task for me to create a sample application or something. I will maybe show you that. That's a very basic one. I'm not getting that. So like, yeah, like you can if you go here and go to Rails application. Yeah, this is the guide for Ruby on Rails development. It will have all the details. Creating a new Rails project, how do you install Rails, how do you install Ruby. It will have all the steps. If you follow this, you can be able to create a sample blog application. And it is very very fast. Like you don't need any like it will have a UI, it will have everything. Like Ruby on Rails will have the UI as well in it. Yeah. So that was about Ruby on Rails. Now we'll move on to a microservices. So there are three types of microservices. Like in my what I'm working on, I have something called inventory. Inventory is the um, what do you say? It's the monolith or monolith. Like it is the core application. So what are microservices means? Like microservices means micro is small, services is small. Like micro means small, services means a particular action. So when your current application becomes very big, we try to split it into small services so that it is easy to maintain the code, it is easy to make any changes, and it becomes like less dependent on the main application. So that's why we break the main application into smaller services or microservices. So here inventory is a, I think my server is running. I'll show you what. So this is my main application or something. Like here we show units, like all these things that are related to product, but the login page which happened, that is from a service. So I was telling about three types of microservices. I'll go to that. So one type of microservices is like we use lambda functions, or we use methods to use in another service or another main service and call that. For example, I have a Optro auth. So basically what happens is auth is a service which will create tokens. Now suppose auth is down, or auth is like having any deployment or something like that. If auth is down, then Optro auth is a wrapper service which will cache the token and give you when required. So how do you configure it in a services? For example, microservice which I have is catalogs. Catalogs also uses auth. So here I am initializing Optro auth. I'm initializing Optro auth over here with a dot configure. So if you see what dot configure means, dot configure is a method which accepts a block. Block means this is a whole block. So I'm configuring a microservice inside another microservice. Okay. So yeah. Now what happens is I'll take all the block here. Then this will instantiate all the variables. Like for example, here I have instantiated logger and use loading cache. So those things will be instantiated over here. Yeah, auth base URL and all those things. We are giving it from the from one microservice to another microservice. It will instantiate all these parameters over here. It will do some functions, and call this is application controller verify OAuth. Yeah. So verify OAuth. This is the method which is there in the another microservice. We are calling it directly. Like first we instantiated all the variables for that microservice. Then we are directly calling that another microservice inside our main application. This is one way of implementing a microservice. Like configuring the required parameters into another microservice and using that microservice. Another way is like we if a microservice we want to expose some endpoints, like for my case of catalogs, this is also a microservice. Catalogs is one microservice which will show all the um, list of products or list of products, list of products it will show. So inventory I told is my main application, right? So here in default.yaml, what I am doing is I will be storing one key, that is the internal key. With this internal key, I am mapping another microservice. So this is a sensitive data. Like this is how my main monolith or main application is communicating with the microservice. So the same opera key which is passed here will be taken up. Yeah. So I'm setting it as an environment variable for this um, microservice. So if the my internal API key is same, what I have passed from my main service to this, then it will authenticate the endpoints and it will return values, right? So this is how a main application is linked to a microservice by a API key or a hexadecimal, like secure random hexadecimal. It will create a hexadecimal value. So using this, it is communicating for the microservice. And in this microservice, what is there is you will be having its own endpoints. Like if I see the routes of this, it will have its own endpoints, v1 slash catalog entry updates, v1 slash vendor updates. So it will have its own endpoints, and how we call from here is yeah. So here I'm forming the URL, then I'm forming the headers over here with the like if I have this XOpera key, like this is the authentication for the main application to authenticate inside a microservice, right? So I'm forming the URL, I'm forming the header, and I'm doing a HTTP party. That is, it's a HTTP call or something to the microservice. Now what this will do is it will go and call the microservice that endpoint. With that endpoint, it will authenticate this endpoint. Like suppose, what endpoint is this? Catalog identifier.json is the endpoint. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is the endpoints. Catalog entries, catalog entry searches. These are the endpoints. You see, the same endpoints are configured over here. Catalog entry searches, catalog entry endpoints, right? So what it will do is it will go to the application controller. So in application controller, it will go and it will try to verify whether it is from the main application. So first verification which we do is verify the internal API key. Now see, this settings was already set. This set is in both monolith, like in the main application as well as in the microservice. So it will equate this, and if it is same, then it will authenticate this API call and let it go inside the main controller. So this is how the main application is communicating with the microservice with the API key. Another form, the third type of microservice is wherein you will have a common Kafka. Like if I show you another application which I have an outbound gateway or something, okay. So have you know about what Kafka is? Kafka is a queuing mechanism. Like it in this, in a Kafka we will be pushing the data in a queue, and Kafka will keep on consuming that messages and deliver it to the microservice. Okay, so in Kafka you will have something called topics. In general term, Kafka is something, if suppose you have thousands of requests and you don't want to burst your server with all 1,000 requests at a time, what we do is we will push these 1,000 requests in a queue, make the server to read from the queue and process it, so that the server will not have a impact of 1,000 requests. Okay, so there will be delays when you are using Kafka. There will be delays, like it will keep on like I think you would have read in your oops or some concept what a stack and queues. So it's the same concept of queue, that is first in first out. So whichever request comes first in the Kafka queue, it will take that up, process that, then take the next one. Okay, so how do we communicate this? With a topic. Okay, so process message consumes, yeah. So this is a topic in which other services or the main application will be adding the messages, and this microservice what it will do is it will have a worker which will be keep on reading from this particular topic of Kafka. So in this case there is no endpoint, there is no API keys, or there is no configurations. This is a standalone microservice which will keep on reading from a particular Kafka topic, read that, and asynchronously process that. Okay, this is a third type of microservice. So um, how like, I wanted to show you something also. Mm, yeah, outbound gateway topic. So yeah, this is the main application inventory. In this, using the outbound gateway topic, I am pushing, like I'm publishing. Industrious is a like our own gem or something, like my in which the company which I'm working on, they have their own gem to publish the message to Kafka topic. And in this topic I'm publishing the message using a receipt message and all that, and this message which is published over here will be taken from this particular delivery worker in the microservice. Okay, and what it will do is it will do all the initialize process and call method and all that. It will do all the methods, all the works it has to do for the particular message. This is another way of communicating from main service to the microservice. Okay, and I just wanted to touch a little bit on system design or something. Like this is very useful or good architecture design. So yeah, so in a particular system design, you will always have something called as a ELB. Okay, this is called ELB or elastic load balancer. Okay, what elastic load balancer does is whatever request which is coming up from to our server, it will balance the server, balance the message request which comes in. Okay, then you have something called as your app servers. Okay, this is all your app servers. So before hitting your app server, the elastic load balancer will balance the server request which comes in. Like for example, this app server is like very high processing. Like I'll give different colors. This has a good capability of processing request. This is very mild. This is average. What this will do is this elastic load balancer will give more requests to this particular app server. Let's do this, and like that. Okay. Now you will have database. This is your database. So your app servers communicate to your database. Okay, and in return, it returns you the response. Like whatever query you are doing from database, it will return you a response or something. Yeah. So this is a general architecture of any web application. You'll have elastic load balancer, you'll have app servers, and you'll have your database. Now, where a microservice resides in this is something in between over here or something. Okay. So, for example, this is the auth microservice. Okay. So, whenever any request comes in, it will first get authorized. After getting authorized, it will go to your main application. Then it will go to database. It will return and give the response back to your client. So this is what a microservice will do. Like it will reduce the load of your main application, do it separately, pass it to your main application, then pass it to database. That is whole about microservice. Like microservice is something which is used to reduce the pressure on your main application. Okay. So when do you go for a microservice? It's very clear. Like when any service which performs only one particular action, like auth service will only provide authorization, create tokens, and all that, right? So that time we will remove that from a main application and do it separately. Yeah. So that is the basics. I will say there's a lot more in system design. Like you'll have Kafka, you'll have secondary database, primary database, and stuff like that. I'm not going in depth into it. This is a general. It holds good for almost all the services or all the applications. Yeah. Anyone have any doubts or questions in whatever I just spoke? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I'm almost done. Like with basics of microservices and a little bit of design of it. Does anybody have any questions, or I was very bit fast or something?
The request from the students, and if you have any questions, please come and clarify your doubts. Take this opportunity, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Thanks.